All right. Hey there, everyone. Film Dude here, talking about the One Piece live action. So I'm talking about season 1 and season 2. And yeah, I'm going a bit ahead. I'm heading off to Alabaster so I can be caught up for season 3 when it comes out. So right away, I'm going to say we're going to go into spoilers. So spoilers ahead, spoilers ahead, spoilers ahead. But yeah, right away, I'm just going to say I think they succeeded. Every other live action anime adaptation has failed. And they failed for many reasons. Dragon Ball Z Evolution is because it's terrible and the people thought they would make an easy money grab. Cowboy Bebop, which, funny enough, was made by the same studio that made the One Piece live action. They just didn't understand how to make the show good. They were like, well, we're going to cast these actors that looks like them and people are going to like that. And honestly, that's how they got the hype. People saw the casting, they were like, wow, this looks good. And yeah, failed. It's awful. The Ghost in the Shell adaptation movie, boring. It's just whatever. It's like, why would I watch this? It doesn't look interesting. It looks bland. I could just watch the original anime and it's freaking awesome. But with this, what's so important about the One Piece live action is that it's accessible. I am a huge fan. I have watched, read, I have all the volumes. I've been watching this since I was a kid. And I love that this show can make people like my mom, like my wife, who does not like anime like this or One Piece or anything like that, watch it and say, wow, that was enjoyable. Wow, I like the characters. And that's where they succeed. They capture the central idea of the story. They capture the characters well. And that goes into why I think season 1 did a good job. Season 1 is not great. It's good. And that's the important part of it, is that it is good. Because it could have been dog shit. It could have been terrible. They wouldn't have gotten another season, which is way better. Season 2, thumbs up to it. I really liked it. But season 1, it captures the essence of what's great about it. It captures the characters. Inaki Godoy is great. I think he is perfect as Luffy. I think everyone in the main cast is perfectly casted. I like Mackenyu as Zoro, Emily Rudd as Nami, Jacob Gibson as Usopp, Taz Skylar as Sanji. I think every one of them is great. And I think that's the great thing about it is even some of the casting choices that some people have issues with, I definitely hear a lot of them, but I think they do a good job. I actually like Shanks. I think the actor that plays Shanks does a good job. I like Garp. I like Morgan Davies as Kobe. Himepo steals the show. So like, I think in the end, you may not like maybe someone casted as this character. In your mindset, they don't look like the person that was from the manga or anime. But at the same time, you have to understand they're filming these people. They are live, so they need to not only just look like the character, they have to act like the character, and that's what Oda was looking for. Not just from a look of the characters, but how they perform the characters. And honestly, everyone from Arlong to Kuro, Jeff Ward as Buggy, Nezumi, Captain Nezumi, like just side characters. They do a great job of creating this world. This world feels lived in. From episode 1, where, you know, they attack Shell Town, to Cocoa Village or the Baratie. Like, everything feels great. And like, the first episode sets up a good way. We have a great action scene. We have our trio come in. And yes, I know it's not the best, but it's good enough to set us up. I remember watching it for the first time with everyone around me, and I was like, wow, I really like this. And they were saying that too. And then watching the next episodes, I was like, okay, some of these changes, do I like them or not? And yeah, Jeff Ward, I think he plays Buggy good. I don't think he captures 100% the essence, but there's so many great scenes where I'm watching him, and I'm like, yeah, that's how Buggy would do it. The fact that he gets so hung up on the nose part, that's how Buggy would do it. Arlong being this gangster, sort of terrorist, the actor captures him. I feel he's dangerous. I feel the way that he looks. That is Arlong. And then, yeah. So, like, right there, just looking at all the actors, looking at all the characters, that's where they capture that. Now, to talk about the story, I think they do a good job of adapting it. I mean, the beginning part with the first town, Luffy meeting Zoro and Nami, I think they do a good job with that. Buggy, I understand the constraints. They had to do it for one episode. And I think they do good having it in one location. Yeah, they had to change certain things. There's no Chushu. There's no giant lion. That's fine. There's no Richie. I'm sad by that. But in the end, it was still a great episode. And it still showcased Luffy when he is like still taking the food. He gives it back to the townsfolk, but he does take some. So it's like, yeah, Luffy cares about the towns people because he cares about people. He's a different kind of pirate, as he says. And yeah, I wish that they made that. I wish they focused more on Buggy instead of Syrup Village, because God, Syrup Village, 2 episodes for that? Why? Why do that? It's bad. I don't like it. Syrup Village in the manga is the weakest part, but the fact that it's just like, it's so long, it doesn't have an interesting villain, because Kuro's not that interesting. I think the actor does a great job. But like, you also take away Usopp's hero moment where he's like protecting Kaya. In this, he's a sniveling coward. And like, he is a coward in the manga, but he still steps up and is brave. And it's a sad thing. It's the weakest episodes in the series from season 1 to season 2. It's just the weakest. I wish they changed it. I don't know how they would fix it. Maybe shorten it and focus on other episodes, but whatever. Nothing we can do about it. It still introduces us to Usopp, my favorite character, and the Going Merry. I think Baratie, they do a good job. That's a good showing of changing the story, because I like that there's no Don Krieg. Watching it a second time, I'm like, this works better. I like that we still see Don Krieg, but he's not the main villain. That would have cost too much money. It would have dragged on a bit, especially because they're shortening it because they're going into Cocoa Village and Arlong Park. That's the most important of the East Blue Saga, is that one, because that is the toughest villain that they fight. And yeah, so I'm fine with the Don Krieg being taken out. Baratie looks great. I mean, the production design is phenomenal. I do like that Luffy finds the Baratie through the fog with the smelling of the nose. That just works for him. I'm glad they kept the Mihawk fight, which looks amazing. They really translated that well, and it's intense, and I really like it. I am fine with Arlong showing up and being sort of the antagonist toward Luffy instead of Don Krieg, because they're making Arlong be the big bad for the season, which works because he's essentially this gangster of the East Blue. He controls it. Him with his fishmen, they have superiority of traveling and doing all this stuff. So it makes sense from a storytelling and character perspective, which is different than changing certain aspects in season 2 with the Wappo. I don't agree with the Wappo changes. I'm fine with the Arlong changes here. Especially, I love that banger soundtrack where Arlong is telling the fishmen, the history of their people. And I love that. I love capturing things that we find out later in the manga and showing it in the live action because, it builds the world better. And the Zoro and Sanji fight versus the Fishmen group, great. I really like that. Usopp getting his hero moment and defeating Fishmen, I'm glad they kept that, and it looks great. And Luffy beating the crap out of Arlong with the Gatling gun. Yeah, Gum Gatling, thank God they kept that, and it looks wonderful. So they do everything, that's why season 1 does so well. From beginning to the end, they do what is important. Yes, there are certain dialogue sequences that don't work. Yes, some people might complain about the changes. And yes, I will agree, the B plot with the Navy, weakest part. I was fine with it for certain scenes and for certain episodes, but they kept showing it. And I hope they change that for season 2, which they do. I will say, sorry, they do change that in season 2. There is a B plot, but it's not prevalent throughout the whole season, which is wonderful. I am fine with it not showing up as often. That's what I will say. And it sucks because I like the actors that play Kobe and Hemepo and Beauregard and Garp. I think they do a great job. I just don't like their storyline in it. And again, this is Netflix definitely pushing that. But yeah, so season 1, good. Season 2, great. That is what I love. Watching it and watching it a second time, just breaking it down, I think they succeed in every aspect of it. The changes, even if there's some that I don't agree with, they don't ruin the show for me, which is great. Like, that's important. To make changes to the main story or characters' motivations or other things like that, but it doesn't ruin the show, that is perfect. That is what I want. I like they took some of the criticisms, some of the camera work in season 1 was okay or just very sterile. In this season, a lot more movement, a lot better placement, a lot better lighting. So really good on them for that. I think storytelling perspective, they do a great job. I love the pacing of every episode. It doesn't feel boring in any of the episodes. I really do love that we still get Logtown, and it's one of my favorite episodes. I love the Laboon episode at Reverse Mountain, very good. And then just, like Whiskey Peak's best episode of the season. I will just say that right away. Little Garden's great. David Dashmalny, great choice. Again, that shows casting is really important. I mean, the way he plays it, yes. And then, just throughout, like, the Drum Island saga is really well done. Yeah, they changed certain things in it, but I was fine with that. It bugged me, but I watched it and I finished it and I was like, okay, I'm fine with the WAPO change. I don't think it's that big of a deal. Yeah, it's weird that he would work with Baroque Works because that's not how his character is portrayed in the manga or anime, but maybe for this live action, it's fine. But to get into some of the interesting things, I mean, the fact that they're introducing so much stuff that's shown later in the manga series is crazy. I mean, the fact that they show, like, Bartholomew becoming a main character in the first episode was crazy. I thought he was just going to be like, oh, that's the guy that's later in Dressrosa arc. And I was like, no, he's there. He's interacted with Luffy. He brings Luffy to the execution scaffolding. Crazy. Sabo showing up. That was, wow. They show Brook at Reverse Mountain in the flashback scene. I mean, we see so many other little bits and little sneaks that talk about Blackbeard. The fact that they talk specifically about Blackbeard to the Luffy's crew, that was interesting. So yeah, they do an interesting job of like adding these things that would become later important. They talk about Nika. They talk about the sun god Nika. That's crazy. So yeah. The fighting and the action is pretty well done. I mean, Whiskey Peaks has the best one, which is the Zoro versus the 100 Bounty Hunters. I actually like the Luffy versus Mr. 3 fight. The Dory and Broggy fight is pretty well done. I like that they keep the giant goldfish, another of Usopp's predictions coming true. I like them killing the goldfish with the epic battle move of the Elbaf giants. And yeah, I actually will say this. I like Wapo's design. From a character perspective and a design perspective, it looks great. The cannon fire, the way he creates like a buzzsaw and a knife hand, like that's really well done. And yeah, it's just the visual effects are great this time around. Laboon looks wonderful. Chopper is great. I like the fact that it's a puppet, it's visual effects, the transformation. That's all great. That's all really well done. I like a lot of them are practical. Like these are practical design sets, like with the wax fruit, candelabra, the wax house. I like the design of the wax house. Yeah, all that stuff is great. And then speaking of B plot, because that was kind of the weakest part in season 1 was that Navy B plot. I actually like the Navy B plot in season 2. I like Smoker more as a character, and I like Tashiki. Especially the more I see her, the more I like her character. And I like their little going off to find out what's happening at this military base, which has a really cool art design. I like the fact that they fight a Baroque Works agents. I like that's how they capture Mr. 11. I think that was really interesting because that's like a story that we know that they do capture them. Yeah, I am fine with also Igaram's sacrifice. I know that some people are like, well, wow, they did that. I'm like, I think it works for his character. I think it works for what he's dealing with. But yeah, so it's crazy. It's strange, and I think it works. But I am excited for season 3. You can tell I am really excited for Alabaster. And I mean, it sucks we're going to have to wait for 2 years. But tell me what you think. Leave a like. I appreciate everyone that gives me likes. And leave a comment talking about what do you think of the One Piece live action. Did you like season 1? How much did you like season 2 more? Do you think that they're succeeding in adapting One Piece as a live action? And if you could, please click on the bell so you can get alerted for all my videos and everything. Film Dude out. See you for the next one. Bye, y'all, and see you for season 3.